Dames en here, die akademiese prosesie sal binnekort inbeweeg. U word versoek om asseblief op te staan.
Bomma le bontate, molokoloko wa dirutegi o tla tsena mo nakong e kopana. Le kgopelwa go ema. Ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession will enter shortly. You're kindly requested to stand.
By the power vested in me, I hereby constitute this assembly as a legal congregation of the University of Pretoria. During this assembly, degrees and diplomas with all the associated rights and privileges will be conferred and awarded to the candidates whose names appear in the program. Please take your seats. We request you to join us in silent prayer and meditation to give thanks for the achievements of our students. Good afternoon. As Vice Principal of the University of Pretoria, I extend a warm welcome to each and everyone here at today's graduation ceremony. I would like to acknowledge in particular the Dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Science, Professor Naidu, the Deputy Dean Research, Professor Oosthuizen, the Deputy Dean Teaching and Learning, Professor Liesk. Then from the University, the Deputy Director Student Support, Mr. Matekane, as well as all chairpersons of schools, heads of departments, doctors, directors, emeriti, and honorary professors, and other lecturers and their spouses. I want to acknowledge the representative of the Student Representative Council, Mashlori Matibela Mabitsela, who will present the SRC Academic Honorary Colors. And then, of course, the reason why we are all here, a special word of welcome to all of you who will be receiving degrees and diplomas this afternoon. Also, a very warm welcome to your family, your spouses, your partners, as well as any other parties or dignitaries of whom we may not be aware of. Please feel welcome at this ceremony this afternoon. Now, some professions people enter other ones where there's a calling. And then there are the professions where people choose that this is what I want to do. I want to believe that when it comes to vet science, it's probably a little bit of both. Because caring for animal health and welfare requires far more than technical knowledge alone. It calls for patience, for resilience, for compassion, but also for discipline. And that is why today's achievement deserves special recognition. We will be celebrating this afternoon the achievements of 255 graduates. This includes 20 doctoral degrees, 31 master's degrees, 1 honors degrees, 196 bachelor's degrees, and 7 postgraduate diploma. Each qualification that we award today represent hard work, commitment, sacrifice, and perseverance. Many of you will have spent long hours in clinics, in laboratories, and in practical training environments, whilst balancing the emotional and physical demands, especially the physical demands in this disciplinary area, that often accompanies the profession. There would have been moments of pressure, of exhaustion, and also perhaps uncertainty. But you continue. So please allow me to congratulate each and every one of you on this significant achievement. I would also like to acknowledge your family, your supporting network, your lecturers, your supervisors, your mentors, for their achievement today as well, because it is ultimately a collective achievement. As supervisors, for example, we walk a journey with our students, and as nervous as you may be when you hand in that final dissertation, believe me, the supervisors are probably as nervous, if not more. So it is also a celebratory moment for them. The University of Pretoria, through its new strategy, Thrive UP 2038, is committed to advancing knowledge that matters, knowledge that contributes meaningfully to society, that responds to real-world challenges, and that improves lives. And I think the Faculty of Veterinary Science reflects this commitment in important and practical ways. It is, of course, as you all know, the only Faculty of Veterinary Science in South Africa, so it thus occupies a distinctive place both nationally but also internationally. The faculty continues to be recognized as one of the leading veterinary science faculties on the African continent. It is currently the #1 rated faculty on the continent. But it also remains highly regarded globally for its teaching, research, and clinical training. In the 2026 QS World University Rankings, veterinary science at the university ranked in the 51 to 100 band globally. It was also, of course, recognized again as the leading veterinary science program on the continent. In the 2025 Times Higher Education Subject Rankings, veterinary science at this university was again ranked #1 in South Africa, with its recognition for its research quality, research environment, and international research collaboration. These achievements reflect not only academic excellence, but also the broader impact of the faculty's work. Through its research, its specialized clinical services, and its partnerships, Onderstepoort continues to contribute meaningfully to areas such as disease control, food security, wildlife conservation, public health, and sustainable agriculture. As we can see, the impact of veterinary science extends far beyond what many people may immediately realize. Animal health, for example, is closely connected to human health. It is closely connected to environmental sustainability, but also economic well-being. Issues such as food security, zoonotic diseases, biodiversity conservation, and sustainable agriculture all depend at least in part, on the expertise of veterinary professionals. So as you can see, your profession occupies an important space, not only in caring for animals, but also in supporting broader societal well-being. And that responsibility is considerable. So many of you will now move into demanding environments where difficult decisions will need to be made. You will work with people who care deeply about the animals entrusted to them. And at times you will encounter emotionally difficult situations that require professionalism, empathy, and resilience. But I want to believe that we instilled you not only with the technical know-how, but also with those graduate attributes, as we call them, that will matter once you step into the professional world. And so ultimately, you are the next generation of veterinary scientists who will continue to play an important role in addressing emerging global challenges. Climate change, food sustainability, etc. Your work will continue to matter, not only locally, but also globally. I encourage you, therefore, to continue learning, to remain curious, and to approach your work with integrity, because expertise alone is never enough. How you apply your knowledge and how you will treat others along the way will define the kind of professionals that you become. Although today marks the completion of your studies, it is also the beginning of a new chapter of responsibility and of service. Your profession will continue to challenge you and to shape you in ways that you may not at this point fully anticipate. There may be demanding moments, there may be difficult decisions and situations that test both your expertise and your resilience. But there will also be moments that remind you why this work matters so deeply. I hope that wherever your careers may take you, into practice, into research, into wildlife health, hopefully back into academia, because we also need you to become the future academics that sits on the podium behind me. Or whether you enter into public service or community works, you will continue to carry with you the values and the sense of purpose that have shaped your time at the University of Pretoria. And also a reminder that as this is the only veterinary science faculty in the country, you will continue to be our ambassadors for veterinary science. And so, as of today, you are an alum of this university. And so, your role and your relationship with the university will continue, although it's in a different format. But I want to urge you to remain connected to us, remain connected with the University of Pretoria, but also remain connected to your faculty and remain connected to your peers who are sitting here with you. But of course, as we have a very broad alumni network, and as I've just mentioned, how connected veterinary science is to other disciplines that we offer at this university, you are also, as an alumni, tying into a much broader network. So it is for that reason that I think that it will be important, not only for us that you remain connected as an alum, but also for you to actually access the broad alumni network that we offer. So with that, I want to wish you all the best and success in your future careers. May you continue to serve with skill, with integrity and compassion, and may you never lose sight of the privilege and the responsibility that comes with the profession that you are now a part of. Thank you. I now request the Dean to introduce to me the candidates present whose names appear in the program.
Madam Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Rebecca Ackerman, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Bacterial, Eukaryotic and Viral Pathogens in Humans, Rodents and Tick Vectors at a Human Livestock Wildlife Interface in a Rural Community in Bushbuck Ridge, South Africa, prepared under my supervision and with Prof. Oosthuizen, Prof. Brayton and Prof. Mattia as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate investigated pathogens associated with acute febrile illness in a community where close interaction among humans, livestock, and wildlife creates conditions for disease transmission. Microbiome sequencing was used to analyze bacterial and eukaryotic communities in ticks and human blood samples, while targeted PCR screening focused on DNA viruses in humans and rodents. Distinct microbial profiles were observed. Ticks showed constrained bacterial diversity due to dominant endosymbionts, while eukaryotic diversity was unexpectedly high. Clinically relevant taxa were identified, including Bartonella, Brucella, Ehrlichia, Anaplasma, Rickettsia, Malassezia, Hepatozoan, and Plasmodium, as well as several potentially novel Rickettsialis groups and endosymbionts. Viral screening detected a potentially novel rodent gamma herpes viridae sequence. This research contributes to molecular ecology and infectious disease studies by clarifying pathogen diversity across hosts and highlighting the value of integrated microbiome and molecular approaches for understanding febrile illness in under-resourced communities. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Elizabeth Camara, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Epidemiology, Control and Economic Impact of Foot and Mouth Disease in Malawi, prepared under the supervision of Prof. Fosgate with Prof. Etta and Dr. Gimbero as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate presented the epidemiology, control, and economic impact of foot and mouth disease in Malawi. The candidate investigated the epidemiological and economic impact of foot and mouth disease, a transboundary animal disease affecting livestock and trade in endemic settings. Through retrospective space-time analysis and a matched case control study, the candidate established the spatio-temporal distribution of foot and mouth disease from 1957 to 2016, identifying significant disease clusters in southern and northern regions and risk factors of foot and mouth disease, including high beef and pig densities, road distance, and proximity to borders. 4 control strategies were evaluated through multi-criteria decision analysis, with a combination of surveillance, movement control, emerging ring vaccination, and biannual vaccination in high-risk areas providing most favorable. A cost-benefit analysis comparing 2 control options against no formal program showed that also both reduced disease impact, neither was economically profitable. These findings provide essential insight into foot and mouth dynamics and highlighting the need for cost-effective control strategies. Madam Vice Principal, I request you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Chimoele Chupa, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Genetic, Antigenic, and Genomic Characterization of Talaria parva parasites from Cattle and Buffalo in Zambia, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Fandamo and Dr. Muleya as co-supervisors. In the thesis, Genetic, Antigenic, and Genomic Characterization of Talaria parva parasites from Cattle and Buffalo in Zambia, the candidate used molecular approaches to detect and genetically, antigenically, and genomically characterize T. parva parasites from selected buffalo populations in Zambia. The relatedness of these parasites to those from cattle and to vaccine stocks used in the infection and treatment method of immunization were used to compare their genetic and antigenic relatedness. Talaria parva DNA was detected in 78% of the buffalo tested. The parasites were associated with East Coast fever and corridor disease. Furthermore, they had extensive inter- and intragenetic, antigenic, and genomic diversity. Limited antigenic association and genetic subclustering were noted between buffalo parasites and those from cattle and the vaccine stocks. These findings have critical implications for current vaccine efficacy, emphasizing the need for continuous molecular surveillance, strict livestock movement control, and vaccine efficacy trials to ensure effective management of Talaria parva infections. Madam Vice Principal, I request you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Carlo Andrea Kosu, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis entitled Infectious Disease Surveillance in South African Wildlife, a 4-year multi-pathogen investigation under a One Health lens, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Raksha Boera as a co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate investigated the circulation, diversity, and spatial distribution of several infectious and pathogenic pathogens in free-ranging wildlife across 8 South African national parks. Using a coordinated multi-ecosystem sampling strategy, the research applied sensitive molecular diagnosis of Brucella, Anaplasma, Ehrlichia, Rickettsia, Coxiella, Theileria, Babesia species, and foot and mouth disease virus, together with exotic vectors. The study demonstrated that wildlife populations maintain a wide, previously under-characterized diversity of zoonotic and veterinary relevant pathogens, with marked spatial heterogeneity across ecosystems. By integrating field operations, laboratory diagnostics, and data management with a circular research model, the thesis also developed a dedicated digital platform to harmonize this metadata, diagnostic results, and spatial information. Overall, the work established a scalable framework with long-term multi-pathogen surveillance in wildlife systems and advanced ecosystem-based approaches to One Health disease monitoring in South Africa. Madam Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Esther Engelbrecht, who has complied with all the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Clinical Envenomation Pathologies Caused by Naja nigracinta Venom and Neutralization Efficacy of 2 Polyvalent Antivenoms in a murine Model, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Buerta as co-supervisor. In a thesis, the candidate assessed venom pathologies and neutralization thereof by 2 polyvalent antivenoms based on the World Health Organization preclinical efficacy assays. This study was prompted by pediatric mortalities following envenomation by Naja nigracinta, a cytotoxic spitting cobra endemic to Namibia and southern Angola. No specific antivenom exists. Both the antivenoms tested demonstrated in vitro cross-neutralization, but the near equal low potency necessitating large volumes raises safety and cost efficacy concerns. While skeletal and cardiac myonecrosis were present, they were not prevented by the tested antivenoms. Venom exposure induced kidney tubular necrosis, cardiopulmonary failure, and an inflammatory response. Given the lack of specific antivenom, the candidate concluded that implementing proactive and supportive treatment remains the only viable strategy for improving patient outcomes. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Aliska Henning, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with the thesis titled In Situ Hybridization and Immunohistochemical Detection of Foot and Mouth Disease Virus in African Buffalo, prepared under my supervision and with Prof. Werdendahl and Dr. Lewitz as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate addressed a critical gap in understanding how and where the virus persists within its natural wildlife reservoir. By adapting and applying advanced tissue-based diagnostics to field-collected buffalo samples, the candidate demonstrates the value of RNA in situ hybridization and immunohistochemistry for detecting low-level infection in formalin-fixed tissues. The research identified key sites of viral persistence, revealed novel associations with vascular tissue, and showed how complementary diagnostic approaches can outperform reliance on swabs or PCR alone. The study significantly advances knowledge of foot and mouth disease pathogenesis in reservoir hosts and provides practical tools and insights to improve surveillance, risk assessment, and control strategies in endemic regions. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Chancellor, I introduce to you Nicholas Kotsavolos, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Talaria Parva Transportome and Possible Anti-Talaria Drug Targets, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Sneaker as co-supervisor. In the thesis, Talaria Parva Transportome and Possible Anti-Talaria Drug Targets, the candidate investigated the T. parva proteome to delineate the repertoire of transport proteins and identify drug target candidates among them. Bioinformatics screening of protein sequences and structures identified 188 potential transport-related proteins, 45 of which have high confidence for transmembrane transport activity. Protein essentiality, expression, and parasite specificity analysis identified 29 drug target candidates, 15 of which could be directly involved in transmembrane transport. Proteins prioritized for future experimental evaluation include the T. parva voltage-dependent and ion-selective channel. The molecular dynamic simulation of this protein provides the the first in silico support for its function, probing its ion transport rate and selectivity, and identifying amino acids likely to interact with transported substrates. These findings shed light on the functional transcriptome of TPAVA and provide a foundation for rational inhibitor design against potential drug targets. Madam Vice Principal, I request you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Mohammed Lehman, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Effects of Supplementation with Mimosa Tannin Acacia Mearnsii Extracts on Ovine Sperm Cryopreservation and Viability, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Ibrahim as co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate investigated a tannin-rich extract from Acacia mearnsii, or black wattle bark, as a natural antioxidant to improve ovine semen quality following cryopreservation. The extract was fractionated and analyzed by UPLC HRMS, which identified several flavonoids, with gallocatechin prominent in the most active fractions. Antioxidant activity was confirmed via radical scavenging assays, and cytotoxicity tests showed that the extract and fractions were non-toxic to reproductive cells. Subsequent in vitro and in vivo experiments evaluated the effects of the black wattle extract and gallocatechin on chilled and cryopreserved ram semen. Gallocatechin, particularly at 25 to 100 micromolar, significantly improved sperm viability, oxidative status, capacitation, motility, and post-thaw longevity compared to the controls and bark extract. Overall, the study identified gallocatechin as a promising antioxidant additive for ovine semen preservation, with implications for improving fertility and reproductive outcomes. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Louis Martins, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Reassessment of the Epidemiology, Pathogenesis and Prevention Strategies of Bovine Keratoconjunctivitis in Western Cape dairy cattle, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Gummo and Dr. Gruer as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate investigated a globally important ocular disease of cattle with major implications for animal welfare, productivity, and antimicrobial stewardship. By constructing a conceptual framework around the emerging concept of the ocular surface microbiome against existing epidemiological knowledge, and through rigorous observational studies in commercial herds, the research estimated disease prevalence, incidence, and risk factors under Mediterranean climatic conditions. A substantial burden was revealed, particularly among heifers during hot, dry summers, with risks linked to breed, age, nutrition, concurrent skin conditions, solar radiation, fly densities, and management practices related to pest control, sanitation, and shade availability. Neither Moraxella bovis nor Moraxella bovoculi was consistently associated with clinical disease, and vaccination showed no protective effect. The thesis advances a reframed prevention paradigm, prioritizing management-based ecological interventions to promote bovine ocular health in dairy production. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Takarani Makantisa, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Population Dynamics, Host Biting Networks and Dispersal Distances of Potential Vectors of Rift Valley Fever Virus in Northeastern KwaZulu-Natal and Western Free State Provinces, South Africa. Prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Guarido and Mr. Kemp as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate investigated key ecological characteristics of potential mosquito vectors of Rift Valley fever virus in hyperendemic in northeastern KwaZulu-Natal and epidemic-prone Western Free State settings. In KwaZulu-Natal, long-term adult mosquito surveillance, blood meal analysis, and Rift Valley fever virus molecular screening were conducted to characterize species abundance, seasonal dynamics, and host biting networks. Culex tritiniorhynchus and Culex pusillipes were abundant, with cattle and Inyala identified as frequent domestic and wildlife hosts, respectively. Potential Rift Valley fever virus vector species were detected year-round, suggesting continual viral circulation. In the Free State, a capture mark release recapture study estimated dispersal distances, with diffusion models showing Culex tyleri and other Culex species dispersing the furthest. These findings provide insights into the ecology and behavior of potential Rift Valley fever virus vectors, informing Rift Valley fever epidemiology, modeling, risk prediction, and control strategies. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Anderson Munengwa, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Goat Flock Dynamics, Production Constraints, Management Practices and Biological Activities of Selected Plant Species Traditionally Used to Manage Goat Ailments in Zimbabwe, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Jambwa and Dr. Nyahangare as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate investigated productivity, management, and traditional health interventions by smallholder goat farmers in 4 districts of Zimbabwe. Poor husbandry practices, including reliance on natural grazing and suboptimal housing, predisposed goats to disease, the main production constraint. Farmers primarily relied on plant-based ethno-veterinary treatments to manage ailments. In total, 160 homemade remedies were documented, mainly single-species preparations from 75 plants, with the Fabaceae family mostly represented. 13 frequently used plants were selected for laboratory evaluation of antibacterial, antibiofilm, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and cytotoxic activities. Leaf extracts of Senna sanguiana and Erythrina abyssinica had broad-spectrum antibacterial activity, strong antibiofilm effects, potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties with low cytotoxicity. These findings highlight these plant species as sources of novel bioactive compounds or plant-based supplements to promote goat health. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Ms. Shuru Nisane, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled The Role of Nanocarriers and Administration Routes in Improving Ehrlichia Multi-Epitope DNA Vaccination, prepared under my supervision and with the supervision of Dr. Stema and Van Kleef as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate evaluated the previously developed P-LAMP DNA vaccine targeting CD4 and CD8 T-cell responses against heartwater. In vitro RNA sequencing confirmed that the PLGA nanoparticle absorbed P-LAMP vaccine activated the expected immune response, including DNA sensing, MHC presentation, and T-cell pathways. Sorry. Two in vitro trials evaluated subcutaneous and intradermal routes of administration and nanoparticle delivery. No formulation significantly improved group survival. However, 3 animals showed prolonged survival with post-vaccination transcriptomics revealing recall T helper 1 and cytotoxic T-cell responses, unlike the naive innate responses in other animals. The findings from this study validate the immune activation potential of P-LAMP in vitro and highlight the need for dose escalation and optimized adjuvant carriers to achieve protective efficacy in vivo. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Yusuf Ngoshe, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Zoonotic Risk, Communal Farming and Livestock Trade, the Example of Rift Valley Fever in Northeastern KwaZulu-Natal, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Etter as co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate investigated zoonotic disease dynamics at the human-livestock-wildlife interface using Rift Valley fever as a model. The study addressed gaps in understanding how communal farming systems, livestock trade, and ecological conditions influence the persistence and spread of Rift Valley fever virus in a hyperendemic region. The research integrated 3 complementary approaches. Firstly, assessing communal livestock farmers' knowledge, attitudes, and practices, identifying behavioral and structural factors influencing disease risk. Secondly, characterizing livestock movement patterns using social network analysis, identifying key nodes and factors relevant to disease spread. And thirdly, developing a stochastic quantitative risk assessment model to estimate the probability of exporting viremic animals to the rest of the country through legal livestock movements. These approaches provide an integrated, evidence-based contribution to veterinary epidemiology and One Health, informing risk-based surveillance, movement control, and disease prevention strategies. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce you to Quinton Norwell, who has completed with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Prevalence of Elodontomas in Cape ground squirrels and other rodents in South Africa, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Adrian Tordif as co-supervisor. In this thesis, Prevalence of Elodontomas in Cape ground squirrels and other rodents in South Africa, the candidate investigated factors relating to elodontomas in rodents. The most abundant mammalian order rodents are increasingly popular pets, leading to a growing need to understand the anatomy and health issues. Iliodontomas, or overgrowth of continuously growing teeth, can obstruct their nasal passages, which is very dangerous as they are obligate nasal breathers. A radiographic study was conducted on 3 rodent species to differentiate these growths from typical structures. A retrospective analysis of 376 South African rodent species, the largest of its kind, revealed no iliodontomas, but a grading system based on dental anatomy was developed. A third study also compared iliodontomas in semi-wild and wild Cape ground squirrels with distinct diets, finding no iliodontomas and suggesting their diet may not be a significant factor in their development. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Principal, I request, Madam Vice Principal, I introduce you to Lisa Penzorn, who complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Immunization of Horses with a Recombinant Canary Pox Vectored Vaccine Against African Horse Sickness Virus Strains 1 and 9, prepared under my supervision and with Prof. Crawford as co-supervisor. Madam Vice Principal, in this thesis, immunization of horses with a recombinant canary pox vectored vaccine against African horse sickness virus strains 1 and 9, the candidate investigated 4 African horse sickness virus diagnostic PCR assays using both in silico and in vitro approaches to identify epidemiologically relevant African horse sickness virus strains for vaccine development and challenge models. Comparative analyses of reference, vaccine, and field virus whole genome sequences available on GenBank were conducted using blast analysis, genus, and RDP. Protective immunity was then investigated in horses vaccinated with recombinant canary pox vectored vaccines, ALVAC AHSV1 and ALVAC AHSV9, expressing viral protein 2 alone, or viral protein 2 and viral protein 5 co-expressed. Clinical, serological, and virological outcomes in vaccinated and controlled animals were assessed following homologous challenge with antigenically relevant virulent African horse sickness virus strains. Results demonstrate that canary pox vectored vaccines against African horse sickness confer protective immunity and warrant further investigation for their continued development. Madam Principal, I request that you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Watmore Tagore, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Aspects of the Epidemiology of Neospora caninum in Dairy Cattle and Goats in South Africa, prepared under the supervision of Professor Nevish with Professor Moral Leather and myself as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate explored the seroprevalence and impact of the parasite in Africa, focusing on South Africa. A review and meta-analysis of the infection across Africa revealed an overall seroprevalence of 14%, with higher rates observed in cattle, goats, and small ruminants, highlighting the parasite's widespread distribution and the importance of understanding its transmission dynamics, particularly in wildlife. In South Africa, dairy cattle had a 2.3% infection rate, with higher rates linked to poor farm hygiene, while dairy goats showed low infection levels. A survey of farmers' knowledge and attitudes uncovered a general lack of awareness about the disease, underscoring the need for improved education and biosecurity measures. Despite its presence, Neospora caninum remains a neglected cause of livestock abortion, calling for better surveillance and control efforts. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Science specializing in Global One Health. Sahir Kabora. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Science in Veterinary Science. Jacqueline Querson with distinction. Jessica Humphreys. Jada Marie Chetty. Susanna Kutzer. Serena Gowden. Marinelle Hamann. Onteretse Kube. Felin Lotterung. Queen Mapangela. Lungani Mabanjwa. Abigail Mullaham. Itumeleng Muketsi with distinction. Siski Molefe. Adriana Mulder with distinction. Michaela Nell with distinction. Marissa Pinar. Chirag Samau. Henricus Smith with distinction. Cara van der Bijl. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Veterinary Medicine in Clinical Laboratory Diagnostics, Tessa Morris. In Pathology, Olwam Monakali. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidate has complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Veterinary Science Honours, Clifford Bull. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the postgraduate diploma in Veterinary Health Administration. Murandeni Lalamani. Deborah Mohali. Mamabora Ramoa. Tinavuyo Ratanya.
I don't care, but I just say congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Rohifwa Shiamba. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Veterinary Nursing. Mink Abbey. Summer Bales. Kayla Buertas. Nicolette de Goede. Zelmarie de Lange. Jade Driver. Tembalishle Fakude. Anik Furi. Nikki Garodo with distinction. Alicia House. Janelle Janse van Rensburg. Nicole Lanus. Pamelo Madisha. Nom Tamdazo Umshlongo. Atlechang Modise. Sholofilo Moncho. Moshibudi Mosiri. Kamfa Nkana. Majachli Pamelo. Maliha Razak. Tamlin Rosafir with distinction. Maralisa Skuman. Kate Setimo. Yvette Swan. Molly Swart with distinction. Matsepo Tala. Alexis Taylor. Cho Tamaka. Mali van der Walt with distinction. Sherry van den Nieuwenhuizen. Hiela Vava. Melissa Fisser. Melissa. Nicola White. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Veterinary Science. McCain Ardendorf with distinction. Georgina Aga with distinction. Shauna Anthony. Daniela Arnold. Jacques Bernard. Mohammed Baba. Sarah Bisman Simons. Rebecca Biggs. Monica Bunder. Kokishle Boy. Ilona Boshoff. Ryan Botma. Sarah Bristow. Zandri Britt. Gabriela Chandler. Tiz Lun Chung. Scott Cuthbert. Amira Dada. Samuel Delanga. Lindy Louise DeWitt. Leandri DeToy. Casey Eddy. Ilham Idris. Kayla Els. Callista Engelbrecht. Emil Erasmus. Johannes Everly. Hannah Fletcher. Zander Fuscher. Sanjay Furi. Jeanette Furi. Michelle Fowler. Maziwonka Gagela. Kia Gibbs. Tiara Govender. Megan Gower. Kari Grobler. Renata Grobler. Sandali Granata. Saraya Halibata. Nicole Hassel. Depriya Hutton. Isaac Hutton. Herko Haystick. Ajandla Hoffman. Nicola Hunter with distinction. Carmen Jacobs. Matt Gerlin. Hannah Javary. Bianca Lee Jones. Manana Kekana. Sarah Kilfoyle. Tarika Kona. Mishka Kotwal. Christine Kruger. Natalie Lagrange. Lizelle Liebenberg. Amber Lombard. Adrian Lottritz. Laura McDonald. Rochelle Marks. Molobocheng Masango. Muda Nalo. Marcellus Les.
Mutanaro Maserasere.
Thank you. Itumeleng Matati. Andre McLean. Liam Mayer. Asikalelwe Mashlawa. Sepang Muahi. Amir Mohammed. Natara Mudli. Tarika Mudli. Muhammad Mullah. Nancy Morrison. Chloe Naidu. Jessica Naidu. Talia Naidu. Vikira Naidu. Shani Nietlan. Tebeocho Nkosi. Hendrik Undal. Marvani Padiachi. Andrea Patterson with distinction. Teshmira Pata. Tamsin Paulsa. Johan Posma. Daniela Pretorius with distinction. Georges Progdison. Kimea Ramdio. Sydney Reed. Amy Rice. Jenna Ritchie. Christopher Roots. Thomas Saunders. Alexander Schliemann. Kirsten Semple. February Setiawan with distinction. Rumbidzai Shonhiwa. Indemiso Sikakani. Nikhil Singh. Tarina Snyman with distinction. Farron Solosh. Bianca Stark. Alika Stein. Joshua Stockett. Matthijs Sutherland. Rachel Swanepoel. Natasha Swart. Kim Trollope. Loyolo Shaisa. Lauren Turner. Rogan Ace. Amira Vali. Elma van Aert. Lee van der Maast. Nicola van der Merwe. Paul Henry van der Merwe with distinction. Isandri van der Walt. Marizan van Drayton. Leah van Veek. Nicole van Veek. Daniela Vandia. Casper Venter. Pascali Viviers. Jessie Vayner with distinction. Jessica Wainwright. Rachel Warren. Jennifer Webb. Rachel Walsh. Sumari Vessels. Jonathan Wumberly with distinction. Manus Simon.
I now request the Dean to introduce to me the candidate for the presentation of the award of Vice Chancellor and Principal.
Madam Vice Principal, I have the honor to introduce to you Jonathan Michael Wimberley for the presentation of the award of the Vice Chancellor and Principal. Jonathan Michael Wimberley complied with all the requirements for the Bachelor of Veterinary Science degree on 26 November 2025, and the degree was conferred with distinction. Jonathan Wimberley is acknowledged as the overall top achiever in the Faculty of Veterinary Science for the year 2025. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to present the candidate with the award of Vice Chancellor and Principal.
I hereby present Jonathan Michael Wimberley with the award, the Vice Chancellor and Principal. Congratulations. Can I ask all of our graduates to please stand? Let's give them another applause. Thank you. Now, graduates, around you are the people that have supported you to get to this moment. Please turn to them and you give them an applause. Thank you. Then, last but not least, as I've indicated earlier, you don't walk this journey alone. And so behind me are the people that have taught you and that have supported you. Please acknowledge them. Thank you. We have now come to the end of the proceedings, but before we close, I wish to invite all present for liquid refreshments afterwards in the marquee in front of the Rembrandt Hall. You are requested to stand for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing until the assembly has been dissolved and the academic procession has left the auditorium. The words of the national anthem will appear on the screens. Please rise. By the powers vested in me, I hereby dissolve this assembly of the University of Pretoria.
Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Post iucundum juventutem, post molestam senectutem, nos habebitur. Nos habebitur. Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Post iucundum juventutem, post molestam senectutem, nos habebitur.
Sure! The graduates have spoken. Let's give them what they want. Graduates! Uncommon and more graduates. Sure! I'm not